Yeah, welcome back to Saturday League Kickoff, simulcast live on Fox League, KO, and also if all our listeners through the SEN network as well. It was a great win last night for the Bulldogs. Great come from behind win. I know that as a coach, it's not ideal but it also shows some really great signs as well. And Timbo, the Bulldog on the text line 0457 736 736 has got a great text here, and I know this will be warming the heart of Cameron Ciraldo, who's about to Jason Ryles, and all those great coaches that love the history of the game. He talks about the Doggies last night in front of all these past legendary captains for the 90th anniversary. Hope Steve Mortimer was watching from the nursing home. He would have been proud. So, yeah, love the show, guys. So, yeah, anyone who loves the history of the game always knows how important those legends of a game are. And, well, one club we do know that has a proud history when it comes to some of the greatest legends of the game, and the Parramatta Eels, and they were very impressive last night in the win against the Newcastle Knights. And we have their coach, Jason Ryles, on the line. How are you, Rylesy?
Hey, Satts, how are you, mate?
Going very well. Well, you're feeling a lot better. We know that because you got a lot of your key players back on deck, and it just seems that now that you've got the captain steering the ship out there, Mitch Moses, that the things that you want to try and achieve as a team are starting to happen while he's there.
Yeah, it's definitely an easier watch the next day, that's for sure. But yeah, whilst at times it's been a little bit frustrating, it's also there's been a lot of good things there that we've seen that we've been working on, and with players improving and that type of thing. But like you said, having Mitch on board, Zac back as well, but in particular Mitch, just to have that experience and organisation, and also his kicking game is pretty invaluable to us at the moment whilst we're building our foundations as a footy team.
Rylesy, can I get to the most important question? I look at Nathan Brown sitting next to you in the coach's box, and I remember when he first started as a coach, he had these beautiful blonde, flowing locks, and it all disappeared by the time he finished coaching. Are you worried that you're going to lose your beautiful grey mane like he did?
Well, I've got two daughters that remind me that it's getting a lot thinner at the top now. So, I think I've been on that path anyway, but this is probably going to accelerate it.
Stop the fight, brother. Stop the fight. Let me, in all seriousness, Rylesy, you must be happy with the way your team's performed. Obviously, since Mitchell has come back, you get your dominant halfback back in any side, the side's going to go better. There was criticism early on, Jason, about the recruitment decisions. Obviously, whether the club should have let Gutho go. Were you at any stage going, "This is harder than I thought it was going to be," or did you just realise, like most sane people, that it was early days?
No, it was just early days. I think if you go through our list, we've got about 7 or 8 guys under 30 games at the moment. So, and there's probably 4 or 5 like Isaiah and Iongi and those guys. They're under 10 games. So, whilst Isaiah had played first grade for Penrith, it was only his second game for us. So, we knew what we'd got there in Izzy, and I just know he's going to continue to get better as the more time he gets on the field. And I was never at all worried about the decisions we made in regards to our roster, and I think there's still a few more to come. So it's we're just going to continue to work on that and keep nurturing these young guys that are coming through. And if they take the opportunity and keep improving like they are, then they'll stay in NRL and we'll keep them there. So it's it just takes time, as you know, Webby, and I think Ciro is probably the best example of that at the Dogs.
Hey, Jace, now Zac Lomax, there's this, the many questions being asked about whether Laurie Daly would take in 2 wingers that have only had 1 game under their belt, but the game has changed so much with sports science and preparation and rehab. Give us a little bit of an insight into what he's been doing to get back on the field and why you would campaign and convince Laurie Daly that 1 game would be enough, because, again, last night he was outstanding.
Yeah. Things happen around Zac, and more often than not, they're good. So it's one of those things that I don't think he can probably explain sometimes, but he gets himself in those situations where he creates opportunities for our team. But then you add that to that, his ability to sort of give us power out of yardage as well. So, but in regards to his rehab, so we've got a guy that just basically sort of works with those guys full time. So whenever they get injured, they go straight to Jack, his name is, and he works with with our injured guys, and you know, Zac's been no different, and he's had a real good block of training before he came back and played. So whilst they've been out injured, it's not like they don't do anything. You know, they got all their markers that they've got to tick off before they get back to play, but a lot of that's got to do with condition as well. So they can give themselves the best chance to come back from whatever injury it is. So he's had a real good block of training, and I think you've seen that last night where he sort of hit the ground running.
Jack sounds like a guy that they've got in this dark bunker, underground basement that they just throw everywhere. You never see them again for another 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
I've been
Jack's
to
a
those
cracker.
nightclubs.
We love him. Yeah, the boys love him. I reckon he's our best signing. So.
Hey, Rolsey, now a jersey and a position that's very close to your heart. And he came to you originally as a back rower, but are you seeing the transformation of front rowers now that they're a little bit more lower to the ground, a lot more powerful and quicker leg speed? Because Jack Williams last night was really explosive and got you on the front foot.
Yeah, no, Jack has probably one of his best games he's had for us. He's been one of our most consistent performers. So he's, you know, we've seen that again last night. He started in the back row last night, but we've got him to play through the middle. And, you know, his versatility is pretty invaluable to us at the moment, whilst the younger guys getting the handle of the pace of the game and that type of thing. So, I agree with him, mate. He was outstanding last night.
Rosie, I thought it was Dylan Brown's best game this season. Obviously, it's taken a little while for him to settle down after all the drama around his contract earlier in the year. Just tell us about how his mindset is. I saw him interviewed actually after the game on Fox Sports last night, and he just seemed so much calmer in himself and the decision that he's made, and things have settled down. Obviously, with Moses coming back, just talk to us about how Dylan's travelling at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think you're pretty right there. I think it's probably he's had a really good month of footy, especially since Mitchell comes back. He certainly helps him with the organisational part of the team and frees him up a little. So, but yeah, no, you're right. We probably protect the boys a fair bit in regards to being coaches and that type of thing. But he wasn't himself there for a couple of weeks when all the decision was happening, and it's pretty natural, or I think it's pretty understandable the human nature of the decision he had to make and the magnitude of it, and there was a lot of commentary around it. So, but on the back of that, you know, we've been really supportive of him as a footy club, understanding of it, and I think he's come through the other side, and he's you know, the last month has probably been his most solid block of footy. He looks freer, he's running the ball, and, you know, he's a really good defensive player as well for us, which he probably doesn't get credit for. So he's been building his game on that, which has only been good for our team. Yeah, no,
he put on a show last night, especially in front of his new club. Now, on the text line, Rolsey, Nathan says, I'd like to know from the coach how he can transform a winger up to a bench second row. I thought Jordan played very well last night and grabbed a try, and that's Jordan Samrani as well. So what was the process around that?
Yeah, so when he first come, he's on train and trial at the moment. He's an outside back. He's had quite a bit of bad luck with injuries over the past couple of years. He's been out of the dog system, so he's obviously been well coached there, and he's basically trained every session in the pre-season, which was probably the first time he's done that since he's come into grade. So that's probably the first thing. And then the next bit was Brownie's had experience with putting Ben Cray and Big Bo Scott into the back row from outside backs, and when he first came to the club before Christmas, Brownie sort of mentioned it, and then we sort of let him train and play and that type of thing, and then the opportunity come up with Laney not being around to go into the back row, and he was open to it, and I think we might have found ourselves a back row that can play centre now rather than a centre that can play back row. But we'll let that to keep evolving. And he's really bought into it, which is probably the main thing. If he wasn't going to buy into it, I was on the back of Brownie, so I'll give him the credit there.
Nice.
I wanted to ask, I know I was joking before at the top there about Brownie, but what's it like having him, someone who you've got such a long association with, what's it like having him, on your coaching staff, Rosie?
For me, it's been invaluable. I wanted to get a guy that had experience in head coaching on the staff, and then it just happened that Brownie ticked a couple of boxes. He'd been experienced in coaching. He'd been in clubs that have been in similar situations, and then he's also got a real keen eye for the attack as well. That's kind of his passion with regards to footy. So ticked a lot of boxes, and he's been he's been enormous for me in regards to just an ear and a calming influence and that type of thing. So he's been really helpful, and hopefully we can keep him there for a few years yet.
He's a quality human also, Brownie. Hey, the fullback, Isaiah Iongi, I watched a lot of him at Penrith coming through the junior reps and playing New South Wales Cup, and always very impressive. And he always knew that he would have had to have moved on behind Dylan Edwards. I've just slowly seen him, Ryles, just slowly starting to transform and feel really confident in the position now that the jersey is his for a period of time.
Yeah, I think Isaiah's a perfect example of just being patient and doing your time in Cup. So he had 60 games in New South Wales Cup behind Dylan Edwards, basically watching and imitating him for 3 years. So, and then he's come into first grade and he's hit the ground running. So instead of, a lot of kids now just want to get a pathway through to NRL as quickly as possible, I think he's a bit of a poster boy for just take your time, get into a good system, and then just make sure that you're taking advantage of all the resources that you have at your disposal to be the best you can be, rather than just trying to play first grade as soon as you can. So we knew that when we did the background on him, and he fit exactly what we wanted. So he's come on probably a little bit quicker than we thought, but we'll take it.
Yeah, nice work, nice. And now, before we let you go, we ask every winning coach on a Saturday for temper, who of one of our good supporters of the show, a great night's sleep night after night. Who's a player, Rylesy, that would have had a good night's sleep last night based on their performance?
Oh, I think we've had a couple. Jack Williams, Mitchell. Zac would have rested well, especially after his first game, and getting through the work that he did. But probably those three, just off the top of my head. But I think they all would have slept pretty well. It's a pretty heavy track, so they sort of come off a bit cooked. So it was, I think they would have had a good sleep, mate.
Good stuff. Now, one of our mad Parramatta fans, Steve from Dubbo, says, my advice to Rylesy, get his acceptance speech ready for Coach of the Year. Rylesy,
there you go.
Congratulations on last night. Have a great weekend, mate.
That's not me mum, is it? Or my uncle?
He'll claim that. Have a great weekend, pal. Thank you.
Thanks, Rylesy.
Appreciate it, boys. Thanks for your time.
Hey, let's get to a break here on Saturday League Kickoff. And after the break, some of the big news throughout the week.